They thought we were beaten. Then humanity showed its teeth. The battlefield was silent. Silent in the way only death could make it. Charred remains of human warships drifted lifelessly in orbit over Sigma 9, the last human colony in the contested sector. Smoke and debris spiraled toward the planet's surface, painting a grim picture of the war's apparent conclusion. The Zelvari, a warlike alien empire that had conquered system after system, floated in triumph. Their massive dreadnoughts cast long shadows over the ruined battlefield, their victory signals pulsing through the void. On their command ship, Supreme War Master Kyle Thor stood tall, his carapace gleaming under the dim light of his bridge. His mandibles twitched in satisfaction as he watched the human fleet's last transmissions fade into static. The war was over. Humanity was defeated, or so they thought. The signal deep within the wreckage of a shattered human battleship, a faint signal flickered to life. It was weak, almost indistinguishable from the usual battlefield noise, but it was there, and it was moving. Beneath the wreckage, hidden within the broken hull of the UHS Indomitable, a single escape pod hummed quietly. Inside, Colonel Adrian Rourke clenched his jaw, his bloodied fingers working furiously at the control panel. The emergency signal wasn't just a distress call, it was a trigger. A few light years away, the remnants of the human fleet lay in wait. Silent, powered down, pretending to be just more debris in the graveyard of space. But at Rourke's command, the last trick up humanity's sleeve came online. The Fang of Humanity. They had called it Project Revenant, a desperate gamble designed for this exact scenario. If humanity fell, they would not fall alone. 1,000 stealth ships equipped with cutting-edge cloaking technology had been hidden among the wreckage. Their crews had gone dark, oxygen levels at minimum, engines completely shut down. They had waited for the moment when the enemy would drop their guard. Now, the wait was over. The Zelvari fleet never saw them coming. Like ghosts emerging from the void, the human ships activated in perfect unison. Their weapons roared to life, their engines flaring as they closed in from all directions. The first explosions ripped through the Zelvari's rear formation. Ships that had been lazily scanning for survivors were suddenly eviscerated by pinpoint railgun fire and tactical nukes. Panic spread through the enemy ranks. The turning of the tide on, the bridge of his dreadnought, War Master Kyle Thor's mandibles clicked in disbelief. How? He had seen the human fleet burn. He had watched them die. Yet here they were, relentless, furious, alive. And they were not fighting for victory. They were fighting for revenge. The battle turned into a slaughter. The Zelvari had been caught unprepared, their shields down, their weapons powered at low energy. Human boarding teams cut through their capital ships like blades through flesh, taking no prisoners. The tide had turned, and humanity was biting back, hard. The last laugh by the time Kyle Thor's ship was the last one left, drifting amidst the ruins of his once mighty armada, he understood the truth. Humanity had not been beaten. They had only been waiting as... Colonel Rourke's voice crackled over the comms. A simple phrase sent ice through the War Master's veins. Welcome to the real war. And then the last shot was fired. Humanity had shown its teeth, and the galaxy would never forget. The war had dragged on for 13 brutal years. From the icy rings of Europa to the molten scars of Epsilon Eridani Prime, humanity had fought tooth and nail to hold back the tide of the Zelvari Empire. The alien swarm had descended like locusts, technologically superior, ruthlessly efficient, and utterly merciless. For every planet they took, they left glassed continents, burning atmospheres, and silence in their wake. Sigma 9 was supposed to be the last stand. The jewel of the outer colonies, Sigma 9, was a lush, Earth-like world, a paradise humanity had spent generations terraforming. It became a symbol, not just of survival, but of hope. So naturally, the Zelvari wanted to crush it first, and from the looks of it, they had succeeded. On the 7th day of the siege, the United Human Systems, UHS High Command, went dark. The last transmission from Admiral Lin read, "We will not go quietly." It was followed by silence. The Zelvari descended in waves, their ships blotting out the sky. The orbital defense grid fell in under 3 hours. Every human warship in the sector had been lured into open space and annihilated. From orbit, the Zelvari watched their victory unfold. Civilians were herded, interrogated, exterminated. Survivors were taken only for study. Sigma 9 was finished. On the bridge of the Zelvari flagship, Supreme War Master Kale Thor stood over a holographic map. He extended a claw toward the center of human space and marked it in blood-red light. The war was over. Or so he thought. Buried teeth. What Kale Thor didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that humanity had planned for this. Not just retreat, not just survival. Revenge. It started with a whisper, a faint signal, encoded and compressed so deep within, the noise of the wreckage that even the best Zelvari scanners mistook it for static. It emanated from the derelict husk of the UHS Indomitable, presumed destroyed in the battle above Sigma 9. Inside, in a hidden chamber beneath twisted layers of hull and reactor shielding, Colonel Adrian Rourke was still alive. Half his ribs were broken, one arm hung limp, and blood seeped from a long gash down his face. But his eyes burned with purpose as he finished typing in the activation code. Project Revenant. Phase 2, initiate across the sector. Something stirred. At the edge of Sigma 9 system, far beyond the wreckage, civilian mining vessels, long. Written off as unarmed, powered up. Their true identities came online. Hull panels slid back to reveal railguns, missile bays, and stealth modules. In the asteroid fields, cargo haulers shifted shape. Their cores lit up, revealing experimental fusion drives and next-gen cloaking systems. Each one carried a warship's soul inside a freighter's skin. Humanity hadn't just hidden ships, they had hidden an entire fleet. A dead fleet, a silent fleet, waiting for the moment when the enemy believed they had won. That moment had come. The Revenant fleet awakens over 500 ships, fighters, frigates, stealth corvettes, and 2 surviving dreadnoughts, blinked into life as Revenant protocol went live. No lights, no transmissions, only vengeance. They emerged like wraiths from the dark, slipping through sensor nets, gliding past unwary patrols. And then they struck. The first Zelvari cruiser never saw the torpedoes. 1 second it drifted, scanning wreckage. The next it was a fireball, torn apart by triple detonations. The second cruiser had time to scream. Within 20 minutes, 15 Zelvari vessels had been destroyed, and the others were spinning in chaos. Their formations scattered, their commanders shouted over each other on comms, and then the human ships lit their running lights. Blood, red. A message, we're still here. The teeth. Behind the smile, Colonel Rourke limped into the command seat of a stolen Zelvari vessel, commandeered by human marines who'd survived underground. He pulled up a wideband transmitter and said just one thing. To all Zelvari forces, this is not a counterattack, this is a reckoning. He cut the transmission. On Sigma 9, resistance cells rose from the ash. Entire underground cities, built in secret under the cover of terraforming operations, opened their doors. Human forces poured out, armed to the teeth. Clones, cybernetics, exosuits. All the black-budget tech the UHS had kept hidden for fear of escalation was now in play. They no longer cared about escalation. They wanted fear. The fall of Kale Thor, Supreme War Master. Kale Thor watched as his command ship shook. Shields were down. Boarding pods smashed through the hull like meteors. In the final minutes, he stood in the war room, surrounded by dead officers, his claws slick with ichor. And then, Colonel Rourke stepped through the blast doors. He looked like a corpse, burned, limping, blood-stained, but in his hand was a weapon forged for one thing: justice. "We offered peace once," Rourke said, leveling the pistol. "You chose extermination." He pulled the trigger. Kale Thor died as he had lived, arrogant, unprepared, and wrong. Legacy humanity didn't just reclaim Sigma 9. They shattered the myth of Zelvari invincibility. The war didn't end that day. But everything changed. Now every race in the galaxy knew a new truth. Humanity might fall, but they would never go quietly. Because, when all seemed lost, they showed their teeth.